All right, so here we are, first podcast.
At long
I feel
last.
like I said it last week.
Yeah. It's been a while in the making, eh?
It's been a little while. Yeah. We've gotten there though. Got our beautiful studio rooms finally set up.
Yeah.
Much persistence from you, Jordan. Well done.
Yeah.
Thanks, Rosika. Beautiful interior decorating, eh?
I guess like our first podcast, I thought it'd be kind of, it's a bit of a special one. I thought I'd use the opportunity to ask you guys about, I guess, how AutomateX started. It's been a journey, right? For 4 years now.
Has, and he looks it too.
I feel it.
You feel it's been a 4-year journey.
Oh, 10 year.
Yeah, it definitely takes a toll. Running a business easy, they say.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody says that.
Maybe people that don't know businesses.
Yeah, that certainly has its moments. Like there's a lot of satisfaction that comes from it.
Yeah,
it is hard work.
Yeah,
sacrifices needs to be made and whatnot. But at the end of the day, it's really cool seeing something that starts so small and humble and kind of really grows into something substantial.
So to kick things off, quite keen for you guys to, I guess, just tell us where AutomateX started and why you guys initially got into the space.
What were we thinking, mate?
Yeah, well, I guess it started with Marcel calling me up saying, "I've sold too many things. I can't deliver them all by myself. Can you help? And do you want to start a business together?"
yeah, all in the same sentence.
All in the same sentence. So I told him to let's walk before we run.
Because at that point you guys both had your own companies.
Yeah,
right?
that's right. Yeah. So I had Epic Automation, little one-man band.
I had my little one-man band and
What was that called?
Performance Automation.
We're already on the same vibe. Epic Automation, Performance Automation.
Yeah, you guys were just already synced up, right?
Yeah, it was actually quite interesting because at the time I was just getting into some Beckhoff projects actually. Mm-hmm. I was speaking to the guys at Beckhoff. I'm like, well, if you guys know anyone that's got Beckhoff experience, just let me know. I need to just get some programmers to help me out with a project. And they said, we'll speak to a couple of guys. And while Steve was on the phone with Ben, I had thought about Ben as well, because even before we started, just as you started Performance Automation, I went down to Hamilton because I used to try and sell him stuff. Not very well. He bought a couple of things. There's some RZ, some RFID stuff.
It's quite interesting. Was that at that point, both of you were running your own businesses, was it hard to get out of that, I'm doing everything myself?
No, that was for me anyway, that was the exciting thing because, and I guess when we started as well, we sometimes still talk about this as 1 + 1 has to be greater than 2. And that was always the
we
idea.
math very well.
we do. Because we're both kind of at capacity with what we could do as individuals. So starting AutomateX was always about growing something bigger than just us. And so it's been good. It's been good having a business partner too where, sometimes you're like overwhelmed. Yeah. And then the other partner sort of picks it up and just lifts it to another level, and roles change, and keep going.
I feel like you guys were a bit of a match made in heaven. Husband and wife. I guess just on the fact that you have quite different skill sets, and they cross over, complement each other.
Chaos to his order, and that's good because he's really good at structuring, organising, planning, and way better just getting out there. No, it's good, and then it's good because you need both elements in business. Yeah. Like for me, it's about the people and the getting in front of the customers and really working through their challenges and their problems and what they're trying to solve. And I love doing that part of it, but you've got that part and you do that very well, but then you don't have the organisation and the planning and the systems and the processes behind it. That's also not going to work, and that's where I guess we work together really well. Yeah, I don't even have a to-do list, mate.
Is that interesting? So, I guess that movement into the integrator space, was quite. I remember like you guys saying early on, like, we'll just get into the automation and the manufacturing space. I guess you were more process at that point. You'd done a bit of Intralogistics as well, being with AGVs and certain other AMR technologies. So, yeah, I guess quite interested to know what happened after that. Well, I know, but
Well, you mean from our beginnings?
Yeah, like you mentioned that you had
integrated the space.
Yeah, you guys kind of started during that lockdown period.
Yeah,
and so kind of how did those next couple of years go for you?
Yeah, well, I think it's probably like many businesses that start out, particularly I guess where you're doing a lot of project-based work, is you end up getting involved in all sorts of things, and that is good fun. Lots of different, not too many industries we probably haven't touched within New Zealand, and you get a lot of, breadth there. But yeah, I guess we've always wanted to, find niches where we can add real good value and really specialise
something. Yeah,
and so I think over that time it's sort of we've steadily refined more what we're. The areas that we're focusing on, the growth areas.
I remember. Sorry, I remember one thing you said to me, like probably in our first year, is that we'll eventually find, we'll find a lane or a few lanes that we can stick in. I guess. Yeah. Felt like that first year, I guess, was discovering, where the market takes us, what problems need solving. I think we're there at the moment. We'll probably come on to that a bit later, but.
Yeah, it is quite interesting because because both Ben and I, and when you started as well, we all came from slightly different backgrounds with some experience in certain areas, and we started the company. We already had a couple of projects from our previous escapades with Epic and performance automation, so we both had to learn each other's trades a bit better as well, and open doors for AutomateX to be more than just manufacturing or just process control. So we started all very general based on the skill sets that we had when we started the company, but also it gave us an opportunity to, like, as a young company, kind of find more opportunities. Like, we could do more because we had a broader skill set as two people, and then as three people, and as Ben said, and it's just, you get to that point where it's like, well, we really enjoy this type of work, the market's there, the technology's interesting, and then you can kind of just start honing your skills in that area. Yeah. So
I guess, like, on from that, what happened next? Like, for those that don't know, much about AutomateX, like, what was the journey like? Yeah.
Like a roller coaster.
Well, I guess, we've always sort of described AutomateX, between us as a vehicle to go out there and do some cool stuff. Being like that, we've really embraced the journey of it.
I think there was a lot of organic growth in those early days where kind of, I guess we found a few of those early customers that trusted us as being in the industry for quite a while. Yeah. And we developed a few key partnerships with vendors, the likes of Beckhoff, and
they're quite pivotal, I guess.
Yeah. And it was just in those early days, like, having those really strong relationships really paid off, because it opened the doors to a lot of places where the two of us would never have been able to get into. Then things just kind of grew a life of its own, and more work came in, and we found more people, and it kind of bit of forced growth.
Yeah, well, that's another thing I wanted to get onto, right, was we grew very fast. Like, AutomateX went from the 3 or 2, sorry, as it started.
Oh, you can be in there. You're number 4, though.
Hey, we weren't even number 1 and 2.
That's true.
I was number 2 then, right? I guess, like, there was some fast growth there, right? Where we reached the point of a medium-sized integrator, or even for New Zealand, maybe a large integrator in the space of 3.5 years. Like, What was that like growing so fast? Like there was obviously some challenges and some benefits to doing that, but how did you find that growth?
The journey, really. It's I guess that's what we've challenged ourselves to continue to do, and we've had to be nimble and adapt. At every stage, you've got different challenges going from, just the two of us to first employees to, getting to 25 employees and all those changes we've got across so many different industries, and you start branching out into regional offices, and so it's and now international, and so every one of them is a new challenge, but all part of the journey that we're embracing. So I think it's just being light on your feet, being able to adapt to the environment and take the opportunities when they're there. And
I think to add to that as well, it's just never, I guess, settling that this is good enough. We're good enough now. I think there's always something that we can do better, become more efficient at it, whether it's internal processes or the way that we manage our projects or the way we engineer. There's always something that we can improve, and I have to commend Ben on that continuous improvement has never really stopped, and really kind of, I guess, forging ourselves in fire a little bit to, like, we don't necessarily want to grow just by throwing more people at it, but really refine how we add value to our clients' operations, that it's not
more
just
efficient processes and internally. What challenges have you faced, I guess, do you want to elaborate on something that sticks out?
I guess as part of that rapid growth, you have to make decisions fast, and you don't always have the opportunity to really sit down and work through things properly. And then sometimes you make snap decisions that in the medium term kind of don't pan out as well as you had thought it would. And I guess when you're growing fast, as a young company, you might not have like your culture and your systems and processes as well established just yet.
Figure it out as you go.
You figure it out as you go, and like as 2 people, that's kind of easy to do. As 5 people, it's manageable. As 10 people, then you really start to, you need the systems and the processes in place. And obviously, every time as a small company you add a new person, like proportionally that adds or detracts quite a bit from your culture as you grow. There's been a bit of a challenge, just like keeping a consistent, I guess, vision and mission throughout the process, getting the right people on board for the right reasons, and not just people for bums on seats.
So, like, I guess through that, has there been any, any pivotal moments, I guess, that have like you felt that have changed AutomateX's, trajectory over the 3-4 years? Anything that sticks out as like, client-facing moments or even internally that you felt really, really shifted AutomateX?
I don't know, like it feels like it's been quite organic, the growth. Like it's been natural steps and progression that we've taken throughout the journey.
Do you feel like you could have grown faster?
I don't know if we would have wanted to. It was already hectic enough as it is. Like just purely from a HR perspective. Like every time you bring someone new on, there's a process that you have to.
I always think of like
recruit an interview and
some of the big companies that do grow really fast, right? Like they grow at astounding rates, like. Yeah, and the pain they must go through as well, like at an exponential level.
Yeah, well, that's why they have like HR departments of culture and
I think the trouble with those companies is I picture, because I do think about that as well, right? It's like, well, how do you suddenly 100x this in 12 months type thing, and you've got to accept huge inefficiencies and that's part of the growth. You've also got to have really deep pockets to be able to bankroll that growth and that inefficiency, I think, through that phase. Whereas I guess we've taken this approach of growing, I guess, as fast as we can, I guess, within our means, with systematically, without dropping the ball, because I think you would, and I guess what that would mean is for our customers as well. That would mean we'd end up with some customers that would feel let down, I think, if you go too fast, because there would be collateral damage with that sort of growth. So it's about long term growth as well. Like there's no particular rush or growth to any particular size, but we do want to keep challenging ourselves to grow and be able to offer more to the market. And
So when you usually look at those really rapid growth companies, it's either a startup that got some crazy funding from somewhere, and it's a real vibe to be in that type of environment, in a startup environment. So everyone's amped up and excited, and usually you can sustain quick growth through being a startup, because everyone's just in that mind space of that's what we're doing at the moment. As soon as you get to a point where you're a little bit more mature, then some of that momentum can drop off. And obviously the other way is growth through acquisition, where a lot of those companies grow through big mergers and acquisitions. And then it becomes really difficult, like how do you merge these two companies with their personalities and identities, bring those cultures together, and often that's not the greatest success either. I guess from a leadership and a management perspective, like we want to grow in such a way that, as I say, we find the right people to take on the journey with us, and that it's a long-term thing. Like we all want to be on this journey together.
Yeah, cool. I guess, like, personally for both of you, like what parts of this have you enjoyed the most? You know, you've mentioned the people and the growth, and like what's we it's definitely a journey, right? And I think you have to enjoy that, otherwise you gotta get too stressed or overwhelmed. But what part of this is, I guess, individually is really
well, personally, I've really enjoyed the taking on the challenge of starting and growing a business, not really knowing what you're in for, not really knowing what the final destination is or where you're going with this. But as Ben said, just really enjoying the journey as you grow, and just the amazing people that we've been able to interact with, both as employees, like some have come and gone, like some are like still with us and kind of going on this journey with us. And I think it's, I guess, previous life when I worked for another company, it was a good fun experience, and you get to interact with a lot of different industries and different clients and whatnot, but you've always got that thing that you want to create something of your own, and you've got your idea of what could work really well, but you have to work within the constraints of that company and how they want to run things and what their vision is. And I guess if that doesn't quite align, you're never really going to be satisfied. But I guess starting your own thing where you can mold and form and create it into whatever you want it to be, and like that's really that really creative kind of process. It's quite rewarding.
What about you, Ben?
I've got a second to think about it.
Oh,
I'd say it's the constant learnings. Like it is, you go from a an employee role within another organisation to your own business, and suddenly you're wearing all the hats, and you're learning a lot, and then you grow, and then you learn to bring great people on board and lead them, and all the new learnings through that process as well.
Learning how to hand over hats.
Delegation.
That's probably a big one, right? Like I imagine as you, especially with the growth, like giving what you've built up fairly quickly, and like parts of that you feel are better in your control. Like I reckon that was quite difficult to.
I've quite enjoyed that, like being able to hand over responsibility, and like Ben and I always joke, like we want to make ourselves as useless and redundant as possible within the business, because like you get to that point that where the business is really healthy and self-sufficient and standing on its own 2 feet, it gives us the ability to work on the business and not necessarily be in the mix of the day-to-day type things. Like you want to be able to hand over that responsibility, that something pops up with a client and we can respond to it without us having to have constant input in every interaction.
I think it's important, right? Both ways, like for employees, like giving them the trust to do it, they can often step up and
certainly.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing where, I've sort of been pondering this probably the last 12 months. Is in our roles we need to create the direction and the leadership for the company. That's sort of also been in a little bit of conflict where you need to have clear objectives and goals of where you're heading, but there's a little bit of tension there because at the same time it is a journey and we are going to change and adapt, and a lot of that does come down to everybody else within the company inputting their ideas. So it becomes it's an interesting mix I find, where you're leading and giving direction, but at the same time that direction's coming from the whole team. So it's about creating the team environment where everyone can drive this vehicle, if you like.
I guess they give people the responsibility. I think most take that opportunity, right, and make it what they can. I know, like, over this whole process, you guys have given me a lot of responsibility, and like felt like, it's been almost, I've had the tools to just do things that I obviously with your support, but it's like.
No,
you've earned it.
It's been great being able to cut, because when you think about it, if it's just Ben and I wanting to control every single aspect of the business and always be the ones leading and not empowering people to do so, like, we will inevitably become the bottleneck of the company's growth. And if you've got a kind of a hierarchy structure where everything has to flow through a small finite number of people, then you're not going to get that scalability and that growth. Too many
doors to open, right?
You
see it with some clients where they've got that. There's so many layers to go through. Things just take too long, and eventually decisions don't get made.
Being nimble and being able to respond, like we and that's where I think, like, company culture and your values and your mission and your vision and all those type of things really set the stage for everyone to know the framework in which they're operating in. That's like, we know this is how we conduct ourselves, and this is how we treat our clients and our colleagues and those type of things. And if you're not working within that framework, then probably not quite on the bus. You chucked out the window. So it's really like, I think as directors and leaders, it's really like defining what that framework is and giving the people the freedom to work within that framework. And if the framework needs to be extended a little bit because there's opportunity or room for expansion, then just reassess your framework.
I guess, like, we spoke initially about your vision for, getting into automation. Like, you wanted to do cool projects, and I imagine there were a few reasons, right? Has that changed? Has it shifted at all? Like, and how and why? Like, what's changed?
I think we've certainly matured a little bit as an organisation, knowing what we do well, knowing what we should and shouldn't take on. I think both technically and commercially.
I think, sort of going back to 4 years ago, it was about doing some cool stuff, doing some cool projects, and if you like, that's about having, delivering value out there with the skill set that we've got within the team and being able to deliver that. And so fundamentally that probably hasn't changed, but we've identified areas and methods where we can deliver more value, and that's probably some of the changes as we've been able to refine, our focus a bit more. But I think, it feels like the overall objective is still the same.
Just enjoy the journey, enjoy what we're doing. Like, I think we all enjoy automation, we all enjoy engineering, we're all very intrigued by new technology and things that's coming out. So it's quite fun being, not necessarily on that bleeding edge like the R&D and discovering new things, but just being able to bring that new technology to our clients and really help them unlock their full potential as businesses. But I think a big thing for us as well is kind of like making a difference, like making our mark or making a bit of a dent in the industry. And I think being so general that you're across so many different things. Like you're going to do certain things well, you're going to do other things not as well.
Yeah.
But really finding those areas where we can actually change the way that an industry is approached, or I think that's changed a little bit over the years. Yeah.
So is there like any projects? Like, what's your favorite? Like, what's the coolest project you've done? Like, what are you most proud of? Like, it's got to be something. Like that was a.
Oh, I quite enjoyed when it was just a while, even before we actually started AutomateX. Like, we took on a project where we refurbished the old robotic panel stacker, and I got Ben on board. This was still Epic Automation, and he was going to do all the conveying of the panels, and I was working on refurbishing this panel stacker. And he had written all the functional descriptions and the code and everything, and we're just about to go into like workshop testing and factory acceptance testing. And then he buggered off to Paris. This is like, for a couple of weeks, and it was just right over like this commissioning and startup period, and like I opened his code for the first time since receiving it from him. And I was like, how are we going to work through this?
But it's funny, your code's still,
a lot of that, strong, that's what I say. He's a good programmer, very organised. Like, and the documentation was good enough that I could follow the functional descriptions and what he's done in the code, and I made a couple of bugs and things in there that I had to
just
work
to make
through.
sure you actually
But that was I think that was quite rewarding. Kind of like those first few projects that we were working through. We did a big bulk storage project, tank farm, chemical storage tank farm over in Tauranga, and that was quite fun. Again, a completely new industry for him. Like, I was dragging him into the process industry, kind of building freaking batching engines and level controls and all sorts of things. And
I feel like what you guys did at that project early on was quite, was quite advanced, I guess. Beckhoff were using it as a test study and test case for them.
It didn't seem it at the time, but perhaps it, in that industry,
very conservative industry.
So something new is probably quite rare for.
And what I really enjoyed about that project in particular is the people that we were working with really trusted us, that we knew what we were doing, that we were not going to come in there and put something on the table that wasn't going to be suitable for the operation. So they gave us a little bit of creative freedom to come up with a really good control system and the SCADA and those type of things, and it's flexible and works really well and still going. Nothing's exploded yet. Well, you did call the fire department. You figured out the difference between the ands and the ors. And
Is there like a specific interaction or point you've had with a client that's, I guess, taught you something important that you can remember?
Yeah, we're probably building on that tank farm project. There's a time there was a lot of pressure on from all the different parties involved with commissioning the system, and we were just one of the contractors involved, and coming up to a deadline, and we're doing some final testing with the fire, integrating with the fire alarm people, and I'd got my logic around the wrong way, got an and and all muddled up, which unfortunately triggered a site-wide evacuation and dialed the fire appliances down. I guess the learning, or reflecting back anyway on that, was we had a really good relationship with the people on the customer side, and I think when the country manager came up and was asking what's happened, and we were able to just explain what had happened. And I made a boo boo under last minute time pressure. I guess the learning sort of taking from that, like it was all really handled really well from their side as well. But the learning is that working with good people that and that's internal suppliers, subcontractors, but also customers, allows everything to work so much better. So, we're able to get back up, recover in time for the shipment that was about to come on board. And, we've still got a really great partnership with that customer now. And I think being able to have those relationships which are just, very partnership based rather than transactional, it goes a long way.
Yeah, certainly, I guess being fully owned that little boo-boo, it's something but it is, like, at the end of the day, like, but not everyone does. So many other individuals or companies will just, like, they'll go as far as they can comfortably go, and then it's like, no, this is too difficult, like, bugger off, we don't want to do anything else with you. So it's just, as a company, as been said, like, for us, it's about that partnership with our clients and our vendors, and not everything is always going to go 100%. So being able to really just own what we've committed to and see it through, and there's some projects that, like, in hindsight you would have approached a little bit differently, and either for technical reasons or commercial reasons or whatever the case might be, but just owning it, seeing it through. Yeah. And at the end, like, we've had some really challenging projects that, we had a couple of muck-ups here and there and everything else, but you just stick through it and you get out on the other side, and we're still working together. Like, we still have those customers. And
do you, like, I guess on your side, have you got a favourite project?
Favorite project? Yes, it's so many. so, and each one, like, has something different to it. That for a while there, we were almost like 2 years in, and we haven't touched the same application or the same thing twice. Like, it's the variety of it is has been great.
What's your what would be your what you'd say to your girlfriend on a first date? I know you're married, but
hopefully you're never going to have a girlfriend on a first date again.
But, which project, like, would you whip out with? Hey, I did.
Oh, yeah.
Some of you're
oh man, as soon as I start telling non-engineers about the nerdy engineering stuff we get up to, they're just like, oh, okay, that sounds cool.
Next.
Well,
next, no more dates.
no more dates, yeah. Oh, I think, like, one of the more recent ones that I thought was really cool was the goods to person solution that went in Australia. Yeah, it was just another level of technology, and I feel like quite a pivoting point for us, having started our operation in Australia, getting that first project in Australia over the line, bit of a reference site that we can take clients to, but also just such a cool group of people, both on the client side with the vendors, like how our team pulled together. It was really a cool project that, like, I'm really proud of the team and how we launched that first one in Australia. So
cool. It would still shaping up to be, quite interesting over there in Australia, right?
Start of a whole new journey on that side. But some of the smaller ones in New Zealand, it's been.
I don't know. I sort of feel the ones, and this is even before AutomateX, the projects that I've had the most fond memories looking back are actually the most painful ones when you're in the thick of it. And I don't know what happens, but there's some rose-tinted glasses go on or something. But and I think of some of the ones that we've delivered, during, post-COVID or COVID supply chain issues, all of that, and we've had to, completely change the design of a machine, midway through the project due to supply chain. We're trying to meet a really tight deadline. Everyone's having to pull together from subcontractors, other vendors, other contractors, customers, and at the time you're thinking, this is a
bloody disaster.
This is it's not a disaster, but you're thinking this is not how things should be done. But you're working with what you've got and the challenges that are thrown at you. But looking back, because you actually got through the end and you actually delivered the result, I guess you have those rose-tinted glasses on, like.
So you've, blood, sweat and tears, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's usually those ones where you just absolutely, like, smashed yourself going through a process where you can look back, and it is actually really satisfying, like looking back and looking at the end results and what a painful journey it was to sometimes get there.
Yeah.
Like it's rewarding. Yeah.
It's funny you say that. Like one of the ones that sticks out in my mind, like through my career, was exactly that. Right, it was 7 days a week for a couple of months, non-stop, like in a.
Just to be clear, that was not with
AutomateX.
We don't work 7 days a week.
That was overseas,
6.5.
But yeah,
another one that was quite interesting was during the lockdown was did a system over in Australia, and we couldn't actually leave the country to commission that system remotely. Was quite a good few fond memories.
That was quite fun. HMI, we remote into the PLC, had like
all
cameras set up,
cameras,
sitting there in what felt like a big control room, right? Commissioning the system. Yeah, that was.
You just hear bang. It's like, well, what happened? Check the footage. Oh no, it went too far.
Yeah, no, interesting. So I mean, do you guys have any regrets at all of the, you know?
We'll bring this guy on, mate.
I can't live life with a regret. So it's I mean, I'm sure there would be things that you could do differently or whatever, but it's about the journey as well. Like coming back to that topic, and like you get learnings, and you'll do things differently in the future, but no regrets.
Yeah. Oh, I would say the only thing that it's not really a regret, but more so a kind of maturing that you go through is just like taking things sometimes a little bit too personally, and I guess, how can you put it, like stressing about things that's out of your control, and just again learning to not kind of identify so much with the challenge that you're having at the moment that it starts affecting you personally and how you interact with your employees and people at work and your family at home. So it's just really especially the last couple of years, just really try to kind of, even though it's, you go through stressful patches, but just not let it dominate you and get the better of you. So it's, I guess probably some of the regrets was taking things a little bit too.
It's good to know, I guess, when those things come up, it helps you grow, right?
I think you often need to go through those periods to really know how to handle them a bit better. Being able to reflect back on some of those stressful moments and the things that you probably didn't handle too well, and kind of you learn from that and kind of mature a bit. And
So, what's next? Like, there's a big, it's looking like a very, it's going to be a good year for AutomateX.
Yeah.
What's coming? Like, where are we going from here?
Yeah. Well, I guess the big one of the big things this year has been the launch into Australia, and obviously going from New Zealand to Australia, you kind of got 10 times the market size, and and a lot of new learnings along the way too. Just different network of people and customers. So that's one big area, and I guess coupled with that is the focus, the growth focus on the Intralogistics, the warehouse automation focus, and that's really exciting, I guess, with some really key partnerships that were formed and some really good opportunity that we've got ahead of us. I think
really exciting projects in the pipeline. So
stay tuned.
Yeah. I know there's a lot going on in the intralogistics automation sector for us.
You've done well, Jordan. Knew there was a reason why we're keeping you on.
Alright, so my job's done.
Have you just begun?
No, it's definitely exciting times coming. I think we all kind of feel the opportunity that's in front of us, right? Especially like you mentioned, being with Australia. What's like, what are some of the, I guess, looking past this year, like what's some of your goals and objectives like?
I think in New Zealand in particular, like we've got a little bit more established operation on this side, so it's really just building on what we've got, really becoming experts in our field with I guess more. Oh, geez, waffling, eh? waffle.
I guess what we're doing is we've identified a few growth areas, and the intralogistics warehousing space is one of them, and we through products that we've developed, software products with the likes of XY Logistics that we've done as a joint venture, and I guess the timing in the market as well. There's much more wider acceptance of automation and different types of automation in the warehousing space, and it's great to be able to partner with the likes of Geek Plus, for example, which are bringing some really innovative and proven solutions to the market that transform that industry again. So I think it's set to I guess we've got marketing, sales, business strategy for these specific areas now, and it's quite cool to now start execute on those specific strategies.
Let's execute well.
I guess having that structure, those processes and systems now, right, kind of gives you that ability to scale probably faster. And
it's like we've had the learnings of how we've done it in New Zealand, so we don't have to start from scratch in Australia. Like we can leverage a lot of what we've learned on this side and apply it there. So really, I think over the next year or so is really establishing our team in Australia to be self-sufficient and be able to kind of capture that market and really deliver to the local market really well.
Exciting times as well. Yeah, I don't have any further questions.
Well, thanks, Jordan. You've been an amazing host.
I've run out of things to say. Yeah, you've stumped me. No, it's good. Thanks for sitting down and doing the first podcast. Like, I know this is going to be a regular thing for us from now. So don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe.
We'll have to practice that one a bit more. Your intro and your outro. Yeah. Get a little jingle going in the end.
We'll get a jingle going at some point. Yeah.
Please don't.
No jingles.
I guess moving forward, this podcast is to enable us to interact maybe a bit better with our customer base, to provide some information about what's going on in the industry, to teach people that want to learn about automation and manufacturing and intralogistics, and I guess alongside just having something cool to do on a Friday afternoon.
Bit of a yarn. Hopefully people kind of get value from it and some insight into what's out there, and it's good fun.
Otherwise we'll have fun talking to each other.
We'll have fun talking to each other.
So when are you back on the podcast then, Ben?
Yeah.
Give it a few months.
I'm over the Oz now, so bye.
Cool. Oh, well, thanks.
Thank you.
Cheers.